If you've ever thought about moving to Los Angeles, this video is for you. LA is one of the cultural capitals of the world. Universal Studios, Hollywood Walk of Fame, Abbot Kinney, Santa Monica. I remember watching Entourage as a young guy, imagining, wow, what if I could go to LA, with my good friends or make a core group of good friends and we would go out and just meet amazing girls and have this amazing life. But the first biggest problem I had was rent. Rent in LA is super expensive. Average one bedroom costs you anywhere between $1,500 to $2,500 a month. And it was really hard to find a good place that had a good deal that was on the market for that long. I tried reserving a place when I was in a different city, but it was almost impossible because things got snapped up so quickly. The second biggest problem is if you don't have social skills, it's hard to make friends in LA. My clients tell me, hey, Giovanni, I'm in New York, I'm in LA, I'm around a lot of people, I'm going to school at UCLA, I'm in New York, I'm walking around people every day, but I feel so alone. The third biggest problem in LA, people tell me, is flaking. How far it is to get from one place to another. From downtown LA to Santa Monica during rush hour could take you like an hour and a half to 2 hours even. And public transportation is very, very limited. It doesn't go to all the places you want to go. You almost have to have a car in LA. So transit sucks, and because it's so far to get from one part of the city to another, people say that people flake because of that. And then the fourth biggest problem was that this fantasy of Entourage, the hills, when you actually get there, you're just living your own life. In big cities like this, it's great when you're really young and starting out, in my opinion, just graduating and just finding your way, because you'll meet so many different types of people and you'll get exposure to so many different things that will really set you on a path of different ideas that allows you to explore who you really are. And in that sense, you don't really need access. You just need to be out there and respecting the process of the search. And then if you're 30 plus as a guy, you really need to carve out your own social circle and really build that or tap into an existing circle to really have a fulfilling life, because the foundations that are there for you when you're in school, when you're just out of school with an alumni network, those start to disappear as you get older. So the older you get, the more important it is, in my opinion, to acquire the skills to build a circle from scratch. And in this big city like that, there are a lot of different circles, different types of people. So your ability to connect with the ones that resonate with you and to make an impact, to have that stickiness factor, that gravity, is gonna really determine the quality of your life, because the quality of your life is the quality of your relationships. And I know this for a fact because most of my clients that come to me, one of their biggest issues is, okay, I need to get a girlfriend, but beyond that, how do I create a circle of close people that I can count on, to have real friends? So I want to talk about that, and I want to address all of the four problems in order. And if you stay till the end of this video, I'm going to show you the exact techniques I use to make really strong connections that will help you get the girl and improve your social life. So the first problem of rent, you really have to be in the city. So either take on an Airbnb short-term rental or stay at a friend's house, but you really have to be there and you want to live in the area where you want to live. For example, we stayed in West Hollywood, and when we walked around, we found an apartment complex that had a sign, but we couldn't find it online. And we called a number, and a leasing lady came out, and she just happened to speak Russian, and one of my friends was Russian, so we befriended her. She's like, oh yeah, there's a 3-bedroom here, check it out. So long story short, we get an amazing deal for a 3-bedroom right next to the UCLA campus, and it has a beautiful view, beautiful balcony, and we were lucky to find that spot. And we only found it because we were walking around the area and we just happened to see a sign for a building. And what I realized is that in LA, if you want like a really good spot or you want a discount on your rent, you really have to connect with people that know what's going on and develop those relationships, because they're gonna know when something is available before it goes online or gets put on the marketplace. And that's how you find those deals when you don't know anybody. And one trick I use to do that is I'm always talking to a leasing agent. From most people, they're just talking to her like, oh, what apartment's available? How much is unit? Okay, cool. They're like treating them like an employee, but I treat everybody like a partner. When you treat people like a partner, they want to profit with you. They want to benefit with you. They see it as a win-win relationship rather than you commanding them to do something even though that's their job. Make sense? A really great phrase I use is right off when I pick up the phone, whether it's a hospital or insurance company or someone working at Cox internet, my internet's slow. The first thing I always say is, hey, thank you so much for helping out. Because guess what? They've probably been berated by many, many customers that day. Like, oh, my internet's slow. What are you doing? Everybody's berating them. The airline customer service. The first thing I do is go up to them and I take a breath. I just wanted to say, thank you so much for helping out, Lana. Now, when you do that as a one person, when everyone else is complaining to them and blaming them for the company's problems, how do you think that person will perceive you? In the land of the blind, the one-eyed man is king. And a land where people get berated all the time on customer service, when you're that one guy who actually thanks them for their time, even if the customer service person is mean and you're like, hey, it's cool, they're more likely to help you. They're more likely to give you that discount, to give you that free deal, to tell you about that apartment that's amazing that's coming up that no one else knows about. And this is a very, very important hack that's gonna last you for the rest of your life, which is treat people with respect, treat people as if it's you're in a partnership, even if they're serving you in some way. The more partners you have, the more you're going to be able to create synergy and benefits in different relationships, be it the bouncer at the bar, the stewardess, the leasing agent, the movers. People just want to be respected. And I notice in American culture, we have this idea of fast, get it done. But when you go to other countries, you'll notice that people take pride in their service. And when you take pride in receiving that service and you thank them for their time, you're gonna get so much more back than just the service itself, because that person is gonna remember you. And the next time they can do something for you that's within their job certifications, or even if they have to step out of their job certifications, they're willing to do it for you because you're the one person who appreciated them.
This is the most important phone call you've ever had, I promise you.
Okay, fine, E, but it's just because you are the only nice person in this whole town.
Thanks, Lloyd.
I heard that LA people were fake, they were clout chasers, they were influencers, they only cared about who you knew. I've only met a few of those people. I was there for 2 years and I met maybe 2 or 3 of those people, and they were very, very easy to spot. I have such a different perspective on this than most people. I think because of my ability to connect. In a land where people don't know how to operate except through superficial means, if you're a guy who can seek the truth, you actually have a competitive advantage. So I have this theory called default behavior. In the Bay Area, the default behavior is what's your startup, what you're working on, what tech company you're working for, right? It's a tech elite center and everyone's talking about tech, startups, and even people that are not really like what we call entrepreneurs. They pretend like they're entrepreneurs because that's what you're supposed to do, and people default to that. In New York, it's been a while since I lived there, but when I graduated on the East Coast, it was like finance, you know, hedge funds, investment banks. If you don't have an identity, if you don't know how to behave, it's easy to default behave as if like, oh, I'm trying to be famous, I'm trying to make it, and I want to like network till I make it. So when everyone's on default behavior, when I talk to them and I'm like, hey, I don't care about all that, I want to have a real connection, that gives me a huge advantage to everybody else that's like pretending to be a cloud chaser. So here's one tip I use to find good friends in LA. I write out a spreadsheet on the right side, all the things I'm into. And then on the left side, I write out the ratios. So for example, martial arts, 99% men. Salsa dancing, 50-50, 50% women. Yoga class, 50% women. Acting class at UCLA, probably 50% women, right? So I write out all the ones with high female ratios. And then I go to those events because I know that I enjoy dancing anyway. I like yoga class and Pilates class. So I go to those classes and I start meeting guys and girls in those classes because I'm actually excited about that activity. And then I make friends. Everything's basically decoded for you in the first day formula. The link is here and in the description. And then here's what I do. I invite them to 3 events, a rule of 3. And I just write something like this. Hey, I'm gonna be checking out this brunch place in Santa Monica on Saturday. You're invited. And I'll do that with 3 or 4 people. And if all of them show up, we have a group event. And if 1 or 2 show up, I get to connect with them one-on-one. And the thing I look for is when someone says they're coming and then they flake on you, I give them 2 chances. The first time they flake, I'm like, it's all good. It doesn't affect me. The second time they flake, after they've already confirmed that they were coming, then what I do is I put them on a backup list. So that backup list is like a group text where it's like group events. Hey, we're going bowling today. Hey, we're gonna have game night at our house. And I don't care what the response is, right? If the third time they commit to something, they're like, yes, I'll be there, and then they for some reason have some excuse, that's when I actually put them on a blacklist, and I just like, I don't block people, but I just delete their number and I don't respond to them anymore. The only way to get back then is for them to invite me to something. So that's the rule of 3. And the reason is loyalty and keeping your word is really big in my books. Even if I keep people in the periphery, I don't want someone to keep saying something and not doing it. So they have 3 strikes and then they're out. In LA, it's hard to get from like, you know, downtown to the west side, etc. So you have to like make friends on your side, whether you're in Malibu or Santa Monica or West Hollywood. If you have friends in other places, what you can do is you plan ahead of time. So for example, if I'm going to a party downtown, because I have the fortune to work remotely, I bring my laptop and I go to downtown, I find a nice coffee shop with a nice view, I hang out there, I do my work, I walk around, buy a smoothie, I make a day of it. And then nighttime comes and the event happens and I show up and I have a great time, and then I drive back, you know, to Santa Monica. I avoid the rush hour traffic, I get to the place ahead of time and I make a day of it, because every location in LA is such a unique experience. You know, one day in West Hollywood is different than a day in Malibu, is different than a day in downtown LA, is different than a day at Universal Studios. And so that's why in the 3rd tip, override the transportation problems. Arrive early, make a day of it, make friends in your area, plan way ahead of time for friends that are in different areas. Offer, them to sleep over, especially cute girls, right? Things happen. The fourth problem is there's certain groups of people in LA. When I go to Chinatown, there's all these Asian people that don't care about the fame, and there are a lot of regular people too. There's a whole Jewish community that I got into. They don't really care that much about fame. Then you have the clout chasers, the YouTubers, the models, the influencers, the Twitch streamers. And you go to these parties and everyone has a camera filming something. Then you have the actors, the celebrity elites, right? And there's different levels of celebrities: C-list, reality stars, B-list, TV show, movie stars, and then there's like the A-list, superstars. The thing I realized that will keep your sanity is that you have to have a core group of friends that keep you grounded. So what you want to look for are, what are the things I'm naturally drawn to? Am I naturally drawn to gaming? Am I naturally drawn to acting? Am I naturally drawn to the comedy scene? And you want to stay grounded with a group of friends that will remind you that all this fame thing, even if you make it big, it's only temporary, right? Everyone has their moment and it comes down again, and you gotta live your life. And one thing I learned in LA is that even if someone's really talented on something, it doesn't mean they're a good person. I've met a guy with like millions of followers on YouTube, millions of TikTok followers, and when I hang out with them, I don't know if they're like nice people. And also, I don't know if they have the qualities that I want in a friend. And just because someone has more money than you or more clout than you, it doesn't mean that they're a better person than you. So be aware of like, what are your core characteristics that you look for in a friend? For me, it's loyalty, keeping your word, and empathy. So for someone else, it might be adventurousness, risk-taking, action-oriented, or more chill. You just don't know, but you got to figure out what your friend criteria are. Finances can be a problem in LA because to live a somewhat good lifestyle, it actually does require quite a high cost of living. Your rent, let's say, conservatively runs about $1,500 a month. Your car payments and car insurance, maybe another $500. So let's say conservatively, that's $2,000. Plus food, plus entertainment, any type of issues that come up. You're looking at about at least $4,000 a month to live a good life in LA. If you're making $10K a month in profit, I think that is sustainable for a good life in LA. 5 or 6 grand is sustainable, but you won't be saving that much, in my opinion. And so be careful of your finances. I would say at least 6 to 7 grand after taxes, you can live a comfortable life in LA, but 10 grand would be safe. The last tip I'll leave you with is this. There's an anime series called Wolverine and the X-Men. And in one of the episodes, Wolverine leads his team to find Charles Xavier. They land in Magneto's castle, and this is what happens.
Wait, don't do this. It's my fault.
It is, isn't it? All you had to do was ask.
The reason Magneto won, I believe, is because the whole castle was made out of metal. Which city resonates with you the most? That naturally amplifies your energy. If you're a programmer, computer guy, maybe the Bay Area or Seattle amplifies your natural talent. If you're a surgeon, you may want to work in Boston where there's a lot of hospitals. If you are a financial genius, maybe New York is the place for you. If you're a guy who likes the farm and the outdoors, but you still want to be connected, maybe somewhere in the Midwest is right for you. So you got to find the city that amplifies your energy. There's another book I read in high school called Sword of Truth. A villain called, I think his name was Ra or Raul. He built a city in a way where there were these generators or magic circles that amplified his magical energy whenever he was in his domain. So it's like you got to find the city that you're in, build your pillars that amplify your natural personality and energy field, and that leverages what you can do much more. So I think LA for me as a city was great during that period in my life where I was making money, I was meeting people. And then there was another period in my life where things went downwards and LA wasn't so great for that. That was a time of reconnecting with my family, finding out what's, the truth of who I am, groundedness, when things go wrong, what happens. And you got to find out in your stage of your life, which city amplifies you the most. All these factors are secondary. The biggest factor for your success is your ability to seek the truth with other people. And that's what I've been teaching on this channel. But if you want more help with that, if you want the exact step-by-steps, if you want all of the lines and the techniques, check out the First Day Formula. Link is here and in the description. Okay? My name is Giovanni, and I'll see you in the next one.